Hey, welcome back to The Dive. Today on the show, we're chatting with Todd Bubba Horwitz. But before we get into it, I just want to remind you to smash that subscribe button. Hey, Bubba, welcome back to The Dive.
It's great. It's great to be back with you. Always a pleasure, Cassandra. I love being on.
Oh, well, thank you so much for joining us. Okay, so let's start with the jobless claims data that came out this week. It looks like the US economy is starting to come roaring back. How long do you think the Fed can hold off on all this talk of tapering?
Well, let's talk about it roaring back, number one. I mean, remember, we haven't worked for almost a year. So roaring back is relative to what's going on. So we're not seeing anywhere near the growth we should be seeing. However, the bond markets continue to bang on the Fed's head, telling them that they're wrong and that they need to start to taper these rates because this 0% or 0.25 with the banks already raising rates is not going to work, and it's going to create a much bigger mess. And the longer they wait, which they've done in the past, the bigger the mess we're going to have.
So we have to get your thoughts on Bitcoin and cryptos for a minute here too. First, Elon is clearly moving crypto markets with his tweets and also clearly has positions, whether directly or indirectly. How long do you think this game lasts until the SEC steps in?
Well, I mean, let's look at Tesla. The SEC never stepped in with him there. They gave him a couple of veiled threats, but they didn't do anything. I mean, he still tweeted about his stock, which, again, I don't always understand what the SEC is doing in general. This can last forever. And remember, the one difference between the cryptocurrency market and a stock is that it's not regulated by anybody. That is the beauty of the currency itself, is that there's no Fed intervention, there's no manipulating of cash or currency. They free trade to the markets. People are free to make their own decisions based on what he says.
So how do you feel about the regulatory risk of Bitcoin and other crypto coins?
Well, I like the crypto space. I think that it's real. I think obviously there's 10,300 coins, or that's too many, obviously. I would suspect that when it's all said and done, we'll probably be down somewhere in the 20s. And I think Bitcoin is real. And I think Ethereum is real, and some of the others. I believe that it's the currency of the libertarian, the free markets, and people who believe in it. Look, it's getting better. You have now Coin, who is a real company behind it, which is Coinbase. So I think it's going to continue to grow. I think it's going to be real. I think the central banks will continue to try to fight against them because it takes away from their business and what they do. But I believe that we're going to see cryptos for a long time. And I think you might see that come a new stored value asset as well.
Okay, so let's talk about gold for a second here. We're starting to hear some chatter of institutional interest. Where do you see gold heading over the near term?
Well, I think gold, first of all, is in a very solid uptrend right now. And I think we're going significantly higher from here. But I think my first target would be, 1960, 1970, then 2000, and then maybe around at the highs. I think you're going to see a solid uptrend, and I think it's going to continue. And we have a very good chance to threaten or take out the highs that were made over the summer and continue from there. I mean, I'm a big believer in the precious metals in general. And I think that we're going to see much higher prices, and especially the more trouble that leaks into these markets. And of course, the more the bond market continues to push on the Fed, the higher gold will go.
So you've spent years trading commodities. We're hearing more and more talk about copper. What are your thoughts here?
Well, I'll tell you what, copper is like unbelievable right now. It is parabolic. Every time it looks like it's turning over, it starts to take off again. Now, because copper, and I don't want to use the word manipulated because I don't mean it like that. China controls the copper pretty much throughout the globe, and they do things to push prices in one direction or the other. They own the LME, which is where the base price comes from. But listen, with all the housing and things that are being built, the demand for copper is huge. Now we are seeing a slowdown, but in the meantime, copper is exploding once again and looks to threaten to take out the all-time highs.
Since the last time we chatted, there was the Archegos fallout. How much of a risk are these leveraged funds to the overall equities markets?
Well, anytime you're dealing with leverage, you are at significant risk. Obviously, you're multiplying the amount of dollars that you're playing. And the reason that Bear Stearns and Lehman Brothers went out of business in '08 was, partially political, but also because they were leveraged at 40 to 1 to the markets. So when you're dealing with leverage, you have to have enough capital to deal with it. So that always creates problems. And when you get to these leveraged products, there's a lot of fees and premiums inside there, and they end up reverse splitting half the time. So that they're very dangerous and only meant to be traded short term, very much like a future.
Okay, so last question we have here. Can we ask you how you're positioning your book right now? Are there any trades you care to share with us?
Well, I mean, I'll give you my whole book. I'll give you from top to bottom. I'm long gold, silver. I would be long platinum, but we don't trade it because it's not liquid enough. I'm long. I'm long the Nasdaq futures. I'm long the S&P futures. I'm short the Dow and short the Russell. Long bonds, long notes, short sugar, short cocoa, long coffee, short coffee, cotton. Excuse me. Long OJ. What else? So grains, short all the grains, long all the meats. And I have more, but I'm sure you don't want to hear every single position I have.
You can share more next time. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the show again, Bubba.
Thank you so much. It was great to be with you, and I appreciate being on with you.
Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. And in the meantime, check out some of our other videos up there.